I've just got to carry on going. There's people, you hear snidey remarks, oh, what's the point in playing? You can't just give up. It's not me, I'm not just going to give up. I'm just going to play until it goes. It may never go. After I lost to Phil in the World Final, he said that he'll never recover from that. He'll never win a TV major. So that's when I picked the trophy up and said, where's Pikey? Because I knew he was there upstairs somewhere. I said, have some of that, son.
Hello, welcome along to the latest edition of the Tungsten Talk here at the MODUS Super Series, where we delve into the lives and careers of some of the stars that play here at the Live Lounge in Portsmouth. I'm happy to say that tonight we're going to be in the company of the artist Kevin Painter alongside Matthew Egger. Now, you two go back a fair bit, don't you? You two Midlands boys, aren't you? Well, the last few years anyway.
Yeah, well, I mean, Matt, what was it, Matt? How old were you? 14, 15, I think, was it? About 15 years old when we first met, and he'd come down the local club and practice with us, and at the time he weren't very good. And
nothing's changed.
Well, he got better, obviously, but that was all down to me. Of course it was.
What were your stories and experiences like with Kev? First of all, growing up, and then when you shared a bit of time together on tour?
Yeah, I'd say the same thing. I was sort of met Kev when I was quite young and sort of finding my feet in the game, and then over time I then took a few quid off him. So all was good.
Let's speak a little bit about yourself. First of all, how are you? How are things? Obviously, the last year or so have had its trials and tribulations, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's been a difficult 13 months now. You've seen the sort of things that have been happening. It's been difficult, yeah, frustrating. You was talking to Kirsty last week, weren't you, Kirsty Hutchinson? She was telling you about her struggles with it. And we see more and more people with sort of diabetes, don't we, nowadays, because Nathan Aspinall obviously went public and you can see what he's doing and things like that. So, yeah, it's been difficult, it has.
Has it perhaps also been a bit difficult? Because obviously I suppose some of those issues have kind of been in the public spotlight because they've happened in a couple of events that have been televised.
Yeah, well, I mean, look, it happens everywhere. I could be playing in the local vaults that I'm playing in now. It could happen there, and it does, and it could happen up here, and it may be. It's just, sometimes I go a few legs where I don't have it, and then sometimes I might have it on my first start, or my last start, or my second, you know what I mean? Just comes out of the blue. When I'm in a nice rhythm and I can throw and I can play well. But it just interrupts my rhythm, and when you're a sort of faster rhythm player, that's when you're going to have problems.
It's exactly that. It's when something goes from being a subconscious activity to a conscious activity. When you're playing well, you never stand there and think, how am I throwing a dart? How am I holding a dart? How am I standing at the hockey? But you start thinking about those things. And the thing is I always sort of alluded to is driving your car. We all drove our car either down here to Portsmouth or to the venue today. And when you did that, you did natural things. You checked your mirrors, you changed gears, you did all these things subconsciously while you listened to the radio and you didn't even think about it. But if you was doing your driving test and you've got someone next to you who's going to take your license off you and you start thinking of all the things, if I don't do this right, I'm going to lose my license. I can't get to work. I can't go to tournaments. I can't do all these different things. Then all of a sudden it becomes a different thought pattern, because then what you'll try doing is you'll consciously now check your mirrors. You'll try and over-exaggerate so he can see what I'm doing. And then all those things you've done for years, subconsciously, you're now very aware of. And then you'll start changing things. It starts breaking down. So yeah, I absolutely can sort of, I've done through it myself. So I sort of know. And you try and find changes and solutions.
And in terms of the darts at the minute, we saw you a few weeks ago at the time of recording this at the Champion of Champions event that the World Series. How did you find that went for yourself?
Yeah, I mean, it weren't major issues there, I'd say, but I had a few good legs. Merv played really well. The first 4 legs, he come out of the traps and he went mad. So, no, look, I didn't have too much high expectations. I didn't come down here thinking I'm going to win. I just wanted to play with a bit of rhythm. And I have no idea whether I'm going to have that rhythm or not. I may have and I may not. That's the difficult thing with it. It's like, Matt, if I said to you, throw a tennis ball at that wall for 10 minutes, you'd be doing it easy going, what am I doing here? The easiest thing in the world is to just throw a dart at the dartboard. But for people that have got the problem, it's the most difficult thing in the world,
Has it kind of changed your outlook on the game a little bit?
Look, I mean, I still earn a living at the game. That's it's been difficult at that. My exhibitions obviously gone down. I'm still doing them, and when I do them, I don't have as many issues. It's weird. So I'm playing in front of a lot of people, and I might not have an issue, and then I'm playing down in the local vault where there's 12 people or something, and most of them are playing on their own boards, and I'll have issues, you know. So it's random where it comes from, you know.
One thing we've always said about Kevin, every time that we've commentated together, commentating on Kevin, is one thing he's always had is heart and desire. And I suppose the last 13 months, you've got to just show a lot of that, haven't you, to get through?
Oh, it's testing. It really is testing at times. A lot of thoughts come to your mind, like, why am I even bothering? Am I ever going to get past this? But then you draw inspiration from people who have. Kevin's already mentioned people like Nathan Aspinall. He's doing exceptional. World number 7 at the time of recording this. He won the world match play, having issues. Played in the Premier League and played exceptional, having the same sort of issues. So there are inspiring stories out there. And when you look over the years, remember Mark Walsh? He suffered for it, came back being a better player than he was beforehand. So there's plenty of great stories out there where you can draw inspiration and go, well, actually, there's life at the back end of this.
Yeah, I mean, Nathan's an exception to the rule as how well he is playing. He actually still has it, you know, and he's playing unbelievable. But, no, I mean, it affects your game. Of course it does. You know, if you're a rhythm player, it's going to affect you anyway.
Well, let's talk about some happier times and talk about some real good moments in your career. And before we go deep into it, I'd love to know in your words how you would summarise the career that you've had in darts.
Well, it's not been too bad, is it? You know, I always said if I didn't win a TV major, especially the way I was playing when I was at the top of my career, I think it would have been a bit of an injustice if I didn't win a TV major. Thankfully, I got that. I mean, a lot of players could say the same thing. If Phil weren't about, I'd have won more TV titles, and that's a fact. I think, you know, several of us could say that, and I think that's true in my case. So, but I didn't do too bad, you know. So,
do you think a lot of that's down to the rankings as well? Because you was around 16 a lot, wasn't you? So you always played Phil sort of second round.
Yeah, and when I moved myself up to 15, Phil dropped down to 2, and so on, you know, and then I got myself up to 8. Phil was up at number 1, and then Phil go 2, I'll go 7, and here we go again, you know. I played Phil far too many times for my liking, you know.
Well, where did darts begin for yourself? Where did you first pick a set up?
Well, it was football all the time for me. I started when I was about 15, I think, picked up a set. It was something to do at night when you're coming in from football. You know, still living at home with parents, stuck a board up in the bedroom and put something around it so you didn't bash the wall up, and just took to it. And I got good at it really quick. And there was a group of lads that I was with at the time. Some of them were better than me, and they just drifted away from it and done other things, and I just carried on, and sort of all came good for me in the end.
I was going to say, there's been some great moments. When did you first realise that from that throwing the darts to actually I'm fairly good at this and I might actually give this a serious go?
Well, that sort of came by accident because I was working in the building trade. I was 26 at the time, so I'd been working in the building trade for a while, and back then it was sort of dying out. It was, you know, people were on 2-3 day weeks, and I thought, well, if I could put a bit more effort into this darts and get myself, you know, and manage it and find us a few exhibitions and that, you know, perhaps I can earn more money at that. And that's exactly what I've done. Lucky to find a really good manager and stayed with him for 17 years till he retired. And yeah, as I say, you know, the rest is history, I suppose, you know.
Join us after the break for the second part of the Kevin Painter Tungsten Talk. Welcome back to the second part of the Kevin Painter Tungsten Talk here at the MODUS Super Series, where we delve a little bit more into the career of the artist. Actually, let's talk about then some of the big moments then in your career, and we'll begin with 04. We'll get that bit out of the way with, and we'll talk about the build up to that final. How did you feel like going through the rounds? You kind of progressed through that tournament.
Yeah, I mean, when you're playing any big TV event, it's all about getting through the first round. Once you get through the first round and the second, sometimes you think, oh, hang on a minute. You know, if you're on good form, you think, I could do some damage here. And it went well for me. And then obviously I got to play Phil in the final, and you know, everyone's thinking, well, you're going to get beat 7-1, 7-2, you know. But no, I was confident, really confident. I'd played well all week and my confidence was building. Although my record against Phil was pretty poor, I always played well against him, or most of the time I played and gave him a good game. So I knew I'd play well anyway, especially over that distance. So, yeah, and unfortunately I didn't get over the line.
Go back to that game. What are your memories of the day and your memories of that final against Phil?
Well, I mean, in most games, if you're 4 sets to 1 up, you think, well, I'm going to win this. But always in the back of your mind, we all knew what Phil was capable of. And I think the turning, I had 3 darts at 8-8 to go 3 sets to 0 up. And I missed that, and I won the next 2 sets. So, you know, you look back on that and, well, hang on a minute, you could have been 5-0 up here. I doubt that would have got away from me then, you know. And in the final set, you have to win by 2 clear legs. If you didn't, it would have been handy because I got to 3 before he did. But every time I got 1 ahead, which I was until the very last leg, he pulled out some either great finishes or great legs, you know. And that's what Phil used to do, you know, back then.
What's it like playing in a sudden death leg for the world title?
Well, I didn't really think much about it when it happened, you know. When you look at other players doing it, it's, you know, you feel like anxious for them. But no, I mean, it was just another leg, you know, back then. It's only when you look back on it, you know, it never really bothered me. It's only over the last probably 10 years when people keep, oh, you should have been away. You know, I mean, everybody talks to me about it. I don't mind talking about it. It was a great final. It was a pleasure to be in it. It's a shame I didn't win it. He didn't give me a shot. That's all I can say.
Is that the one thing that when people come and see you, whether it's at exhibitions or bumping in the street, is that the one thing that they ask you about most, that game?
Yeah, they do. And a lot of people think that I had a shot at a double to win it, and I didn't. I left the double 3 times, and Phil took out whatever. I mean, one of the shots I left, I hit 130 to leave double 16. Phil goes out on 98 2 darts. I mean, the pressure he must have been under there. And even when he hit the treble 20, I thought, I still got fancy this. He probably hit a 19 here. Bang, straight in first dart, you know. But that was what Phil did.
It was one of the great finals, though, wasn't it?
Really was. And the fact that we're talking about, what, 21 years later, you know, how many times do matches or individual matches stand the test of time? You know, pick another 5 matches that we can talk about. It's very hard for which ones to come up with. And I think it is just that general story, wasn't it? Because, as you mentioned, Kevin went into that game quite an underdog and then actually rattled Phil Taylor, who at the time, you've got to remember, we're talking about Phil Taylor, who was deemed almost unbeatable at the time. How many games did Phil Taylor lose in that period of time? And that was the World Championship final, which I think is what made that final so great.
In some weird way, did that one game epitomise your rivalry with Phil?
Yeah, I mean, we'd had some moments before that anyway, but yeah, we just kept drawing each other all the time after that. You know, we go to Vegas where it was a free draw. You know, you could draw anyone. I drew Phil first round about 3 times, you know. It's like, come on, fit lads, you know. And all the other lads are like laughing their heads off at it because they ain't got him, you know. And back then, because Phil was so much better than everyone else, everyone wanted to be in the opposite half and you didn't care who else you drew, as long as you didn't draw him, you know. But, yeah, there you go.
And then, of course, the big one, the Players' Championship Finals. At Doncaster Dome, wasn't it, that in 2011?
Yeah, I went into that. I weren't on any form at all, really. I just went there absolutely not on any form. And I just thought, we'll just see how we go. And got the first round out of the way and played all right. And then I just got better every game. And beat Merv, Gary Anderson, I think, Colin Osborne. And, managed to win it, yeah.
What do you remember of the finals? Mark Webster, wasn't it, your opponent in that game?
Yeah, it was one of the easiest games I've ever had, you know, playing Webby. No, look, I sort of got away with it, if you like, in the semi. I played Scott Rand, and he was 9-6 up. And he wired a double, proper wired it as well to win 10-8, I think it was. But I won 4 legs on the trot and won it. So it was sort of a freebie for me, and I thought, I'm playing really well here, and I fancy it. And thankfully, I got over the line.
The backwards run across the stage. That's what I remember the most. The larging.
Yeah, you got to, and you got to enjoy it. You know, Stuart Pike, after I lost to Phil in the world final, he said he'll never recover from that. He'll never win a TV major. So that's when I picked the trophy up and said, "Where's Pikey?" Because I knew he was there upstairs somewhere. I said, "Have some of that, son." So no, nice to do it. You know, there's better players than me that will never win a TV major. So it's great to do it, you know.
What was that feeling like when that winning double went in?
Yeah, fantastic. It was like, great, I've done that. And it was relief You know, because you don't get them chances sometimes. You don't get chances to get in finals. So it was nice to do it. And then, of course, after that, the next few days, you realise, hang on a minute, they put me in the Premier League probably here. So, you know, it was really good from there, you know.
What was the Premier League like? And do you remember where you were when you got the phone call to say that you were in?
Well, they never used to tell you properly. You'd get hints of it from certain players, but it was done on the finals, you know, the presentation night at the Dorchester. It was done then, sort of they announced it for definite then, you know, sort of thing. It was like, so I had an inkling I was in it, but not 100%. You know, like PDC, like they like to surprise people, don't they? And it was nice to get the, you know, I think I should have been in it before that, and I should have been given another go the year after. I was the only one the following year that didn't get put back in it, and I didn't come bottom of the league. So, and they extended it to from 8 to 10 then, and I still got left out of it. So I don't know, you know.
What was playing in it like though?
Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. You get spoiled rotten. You're chauffeured about to and from your hotels. It's just a different world, you know. It's great. And when you hear sort of people moaning about it, oh, it's tiring and all that, listen, you're playing that it put me off my sort of Players' Championship because your focus was so much on that. When you went to the Players' Championship, you're like, oh, I'm not bothered about this. You would be when you're playing, but I was more, right, where we go? Oh, we're going to, you know, next week, Exeter or wherever, or, you know, Ireland. I was just thinking about the Premier League next week and next week all the time, and I was really poor in the Pro Tour, you know, that while I was in that, you know.
Is it a clash as well in regards to just being engaged with it? Because you've gone from playing in front of 10,000 people to playing in an empty room where you've had to sit around for 3 hours to get a game, and you're playing for 500 quid. Yeah,
I mean, we've had this conversation loads of times, Matt. You know that I used to get bored on floor tournaments. I know you have to do it. That's your bread and butter, and that's where you learn to play the game properly. But the stage is where I always wanted to be, and walking out in front of, like I say, 8, 9, 10,000 people. I think it was 12 in Ireland. It was, you know, that was great for me, especially the first time. You know, Phil had been doing it for ages. Gary Anderson was in it. He'd been doing it for ages. That was just normal for them. But it was mine and Hammer. We went in it at Andy Hamilton at the same time, and we was just like, you could see we was pretty excited about it. You know, it's great, absolutely brilliant.
So finally then, what does the future look? Obviously, we're going to see you in some more seniors events towards the end of the year. You've done a little bit of broadcasting, punditry and commentary stuff on some seniors events. What does the future look like for Kevin Painter?
Well, I won't be in the next seniors one because they've picked the 12 and they said, look, you're not playing at your 100%, you know, and we don't want you to struggle, that sort of thing, and we'll leave you out next time. I said, yeah, okay, fair enough. So, but I will be playing at the Worlds, which is next Feb. So, yeah, I've been doing a bit of commentary for them as well. I enjoy that side of things. That's good. Working alongside Chris as well. So, yeah, I've just got to carry on going. There's people, you know, you hear snidey remarks, oh, what's the point in playing? You can't just give up. It's not me, you know. I'm not just going to give up. I'm just going to play until it goes. You know, it may never go fully, but I'm just going to carry on fighting through it and see how I go, you know.
He's a great character for the game, isn't he?
Yeah, we've had a few moments, haven't we, over the years, to say the least. And obviously he's had his big moments up on the stage. I say the celebrations. There's so many that just really stick out in my head, but that Players' Championship one, running down the stage backwards, that's the one. We need a bit more of it.
Been great fun delving into your career. Thank you so much for your time and for your honesty as well, Kev. We look forward to seeing you in your future endeavours. Matt, thank you as ever. And thank you for watching the Tungsten Talk here at the MODUS Super Series.